So this is going to be an interesting video because it is coming off of a lot of discussion surrounding raids and raid drop rates, KingsIsle developers and players interacting on Twitter and stuff like that. So there's been a lot of discussions, a lot of opinions, and I put my own tweet into the mix, which seems to generate more discussion than there was originally. And people have even made videos on my tweet. So, you know, a lot has happened from this. And it's funny because I didn't even quote the original tweet like right away. I responded to it 2 days later, and then the discussion kind of picked up after that. But yeah, Wiz on their Wizard101 devs Twitter, which is kind of their less of a filter Twitter that they have compared to just the regular Wizard101 handle. But yeah, they have like, I wouldn't say no filter, but they have, you know, less filtered interactions here and tweets. And they tweeted out, the raid drop rates aren't too low, your win rates are too low, with a GIF. Basically saying, like, we're not going to change the drop rates, even though players have complained about that. And players need to get a better strategy, need to win more, need to put in more time into this, even though I feel like the top raiders in the game have already put in a lot of time. So it's just, it was an interesting tweet. It was one that kind of came off weird to me because I was like, man, they're basically saying like, for the players, like, your concerns aren't valid. You just need to try harder. You just need to be better. And we're not going to budge on this. Which, okay, I mean, that's fine if they actually want to take that stance, but the way that the vibe of this tweet was just kind of weird to me. That's why I responded to it. But I responded with, it's tweets like these that make me want to stay away from raiding, which is true. I haven't raided yet. And it's funny that I'm making like a my thoughts on raiding video, but haven't raided. And that's because I'm not really going to talk about actually raiding. I'm going to talk about like everything else surrounding raiding and kind of just how I feel about that. But yeah, I don't really want to raid in this game if this is how the devs are going to be about the loot, because it comes down to incentive. Nobody would have done Darkmoor as many times as they did if the incentive wasn't there. Getting the Malster robe on a storm was a very high incentive. I still use that robe on my storm to this day, 50 levels after Darkmoor on a 150 character. That's pretty crazy to keep a piece of gear for 50 levels, but it's still the best. Did they make a mistake with that gear? Probably, but I mean, they never changed it, so the incentive is definitely there for Darkmoor. And there's plenty of other places where the incentive was high for players to get the gear, and they decided to put in the effort for it. I'm just wondering with raids if that incentive is big enough for players to want to continuously do raids over and over again in order to get this, you know, gear. Is the gear the best in the game? Debatable. I mean, come on, that's kind of how they make gear now. They don't make it like best of the best like they used to with Darkmoor. It's kind of just like, okay, maybe this is good in this situation, or they're even going for the dual skull stuff. But regardless of that, like, is this gear enough of an incentive for people to continuously raid? And sure, they might be saying like, okay, we're planning on having players like achieve this over a long period of time. That's okay, but also like they come out with a new world every year and they up the levels by, you know, the max level by 10. So this gear will be irrelevant soon. That's the other thing. Like, but you know, for me, I'll just like, okay, if the drop rates aren't good and it's going to be a waste of my time to do it, players aren't even getting a guaranteed piece of gear every single run, why would I want to do it, right? So that was kind of my first point. So moving on, I also say, what is it with Wiz always being against what players want? This, I just feel like from this tweet, like they don't want to give in to the players. Maybe they're just standing their ground or whatever, but like I've seen this a lot where they ask for feedback, they ask for constructive criticism, which, I mean, I feel like I give constructive criticism. Like they might not think of it as that, but I think it's that. This constructive criticism, they don't actually like really care about it. I don't know the last time that a KingsIsle employee has responded or like, you know, mentioned me or like anything that I post. They probably watch, but they just don't like say anything about it, which is, yeah, that's funny. I mean, here's the thing. I make videos for the players. I don't make videos for KI devs to see them. That's not the only reason that I make videos, right? Maybe I influence people to do something in the game. Maybe I don't. I mean, that's up to people to decide what they want to take out of these videos. But yeah, for me, I was just like, okay, it feels like Wiz doesn't listen to the players as much as they should, or as much as they seem to want to. Like, they ask for feedback. They have all these channels for stuff, and it's like, okay, this is what the players want. Well, that's not what the devs want, so they're not going to do it. So the last part of the tweet is me saying, if you beat the hardest content in the game, you should be able to get the best gear within a reasonable amount of time. This, I feel like, is just, it just makes sense, right? Like, what's the hardest content in this game right now? It's raids. It takes a crazy amount of effort in order to complete a raid, in order to get that win. Getting the win is the only way that you get the drops. And you need a guild. You need 12 players that know what they're doing to be able to complete this in order to actually win. You also need to pool resources and have people farming like crazy in order to unlock the raid. And then it's open for a window of time, and I'm pretty sure while it's open, you can do the raid continuously. So say your team is really good and you can complete the raid like within, you know, the time limit, like fairly easily. You could do the raid over and over again within that time window. That's probably what they're saying by what they mean by win rate. For me personally, like, if I was doing something that difficult, it wouldn't be as fun to do it like 3 or 4 times in a row, because I mean, at least in other games, once you complete the raid, like, that's it. Like, you don't need to do it again. Maybe you'll do it again like a different day or whatever, but the way that raids are set up in Wiz is just kind of, it's interesting. It's almost like raids are set up as a speed run, where they're telling people go through it quick so that you can continuously do it in order to get these low drop rate items. And I can understand that if this is the best gear and it's going to stay around for a while, but nobody knows that. Nobody knows how long gear is going to stay relevant in this game. So yeah, you just never know with KingsIsle, with Wiz, what's going to change. And if it actually, and I heard this from people that were responding to the tweet, if it actually takes like 12 hours or more or whatever to like get everything together in order to create the key, in order to open up the raid door, I don't know if 12 hours is accurate, it might be, it might not, but if it takes a long amount of time in order to get ready for the raid and then you go into it and you don't succeed, that's a big time waster. Sure, you might have learned a lot from it, but still, it seems like a huge amount of effort for not the biggest reward. And yes, there's like pets from it, there's like new pets and stuff, but you know, they're not like game changing, I would say. And I'm not expecting like game changing gear from this, but definitely you want it to be worthwhile. So for me, like, the pets could be worthwhile more than the gear because they could last longer. Who knows how long gear is going to last. So say someone can, like a group, a guild is really good at the raid and they can complete it guaranteed within the time limit every time, and they can do it multiple times. Even then, for this guild, like top rating guild in the game, they're still going to have a difficult time getting all of the gear if they want all the gear because of these drop rates. So my biggest point here is, why is the drop rate low if the cost of entry is high, the content is difficult, and it requires so many players together in order to complete this? Like, there's a lot of barriers of entry here, and then they just kind of slap on this really low drop rate on top of it. And I've seen the counterpoint to this where people say, this is only for top people in the game, this is only for 1% players or less, you know, like top 0.1% of players will do this. Okay, that's fine. But still, like, if that's the case, if the barrier for entry is that high and it requires the best of the best players, then I don't see this system as being that successful. Now, of course, casual players, you know, shouldn't be doing this. I consider myself to be a casual player. Like, come on. I'm max level, but I don't really go too much beyond that. I'll play the new world when it comes out, but I'm not gonna like be grinding for anything in this game like I used to. I'm wondering what KingsIsle is gonna do, if they're even gonna change anything. They might just leave it and just say, this is supposed to be hard, the drop rates are supposed to be low, it's not an easy part of the game, not everyone's gonna do it, and that's fine. But doesn't mean people aren't going to you know, talk about it and give constructive criticism, which I hope I'm doing, and yeah, and discuss it. So that is probably going to do it for me. So I hope it made sense. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Leave a like if you guys agree with this. Like if you, I mean, maybe most people don't care. I feel like people do though. Even players that are casual players that don't even have a level 150. Like what if they came out with raids for level 100 or level 50? That would be interesting. Why do raids only have to be level 150? Maybe they just started there, but what's going to happen when we get to higher levels? So they're going to make a raid for every 10 levels, every 25 levels? I don't know. So we're obviously going to get more raids in the future. Maybe they're going to update this raid. Not sure. But if these raids stick around, then yeah, I wouldn't want it to be like crazy low chance to get the gear every single time. And that's even if the gear is the best. But that is up to them to decide. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, please leave a like on your way out. Subscribe for more videos in the future. I'd like to see what you guys say in the comments. I'll be taking a look. And yeah, other than that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time.